There was a boy who believed love had to be loud to be real. He learned it early, the parent who only noticed him when he shouted, the room that only quieted when he performed. So when he fell in love for the first time, he fell the only way he knew how, all the way, all at once. Her name was Elena, and she was a painter who talked with her whole body. He showed up outside her studio with flowers before she'd even given him her number twice. He texted her good morning, good afternoon, good night, filling every silence before it could start. He planned their 5-year anniversary on their second date. And at first, it worked. Elena felt chosen in a way she'd never felt before. She told her friends,
"He loves me so much, it's almost overwhelming."
She didn't know yet that almost was doing a lot of work in that sentence. Because intensity that never lets up stops feeling like passion and starts feeling like weather you can't escape. Elena started needing quiet mornings. He filled them with plans. She started needing space to paint alone. He read her silence as distance and panicked. So he loved louder. More texts, more surprises, more proof. And on a rainy Tuesday, Elena left a note instead of a goodbye because she couldn't find the quiet to say it out loud. He told himself Elena was just afraid of real love. So the next time, he loved louder, certain that more would finally be enough. Her name was Sophia, and she loved slow mornings and long silences. He filled her slow mornings with plans before she'd finished her coffee. He filled her long silences with a running commentary of how much he adored her. Sophia laughed about it at first, called him intense in a sweet way. But 3 months in, she started taking longer to answer his texts. He read the pause as a countdown to losing her, so he texted more, not less. He showed up at her work with lunch she hadn't asked for, just to prove he was thinking of her. Sophia started feeling like a guest in her own life, watched by someone who loved her too closely to see her clearly. She tried to tell him she needed room to breathe. He heard it as rejection and loved louder still, terrified of the silence underneath it. Sophia left on a Sunday afternoon, gently, the way you close a window that's let in too much wind. He sat in his apartment afterward, surrounded by all the proof he'd given her. And he still didn't understand what about all that love had been too much. So he tried again. And again. There was a woman who loved hiking, and he planned every trail before she could suggest one. There was a woman who loved reading, and he interrupted every quiet page with a question about how much he loved her. There was a woman who just wanted a slow Saturday, and he filled it with a surprise trip she hadn't asked for. Each one left for a different reason on paper: timing, distance, a job in another city. But underneath every reason was the same quiet truth: there had never been room to breathe inside his love. He started to notice the shape of a story repeating. Every relationship began with someone feeling chosen, and every relationship ended with someone feeling flooded. He told himself the problem was that he loved too much. But somewhere quieter than that story, a smaller, harder question was waiting. Not do I love too much, but what am I trying to drown out? Because if love has to be loud to be believed, some part of you must be afraid it isn't enough on its own. He started sitting with that fear instead of performing over it. It was the first quiet he'd chosen on purpose in years. And in that quiet, he finally heard the question underneath all the noise. Was he loving them, or was he trying to drown out his own fear of not being enough? He thought about the boy who learned that love had to be loud to be noticed. He thought about every grand gesture that was really a question in disguise. Is this enough? Am I enough? He realized real love isn't measured in volume. It's measured in whether the other person can actually breathe inside it. He didn't need to love less. He needed to learn that some of the truest love is quiet, steady, present. patient enough to let someone stay without needing to be flooded first. So he practiced something new, loving in a whisper instead of a shout. He practiced sitting in silence without filling it. He practiced asking instead of assuming, waiting instead of proving. It felt, at first, like loving less. It was actually the first time he was loving clearly. Then he met Mira. She noticed the old habit almost immediately, the fast plans, the flood of messages. But she also noticed something new. He caught himself and softened. On their first date, he didn't plan the next 5. He just asked if she'd like to see her again. When she needed a quiet weekend alone, he didn't panic. He simply said, "Take the space. I'll be here." It was the hardest sentence he'd ever said, and the truest. Mira noticed that he asked questions now instead of filling silences with declarations. She noticed that his love had room in it, room for her hobbies, her friends, her own slow mornings. Some days, the old fear crept back, whispering that quiet meant he was losing her. And some days, he caught himself reaching for his phone to send one more message, just to be sure. But instead, he'd put the phone down and breathe through the fear instead of performing past it. Mira never had to ask for room to breathe, because he learned, finally, to leave it there on purpose. Months in, she told a friend,
"He loves me steadily. It doesn't feel like weather. It feels like ground."
He overheard her say it, and it was the first time in his life someone had described his love as something safe to stand on. There were still nights the old fear whispered that he should say more, do more, prove more. And on those nights, he'd remind himself, the ones who left weren't leaving love. They were leaving the flood. So he stayed quiet instead and let the relationship hold its own shape instead of the shape of his fear. Mira stayed. Not because he loved her the loudest, but because, for the first time, he loved her at a volume she could actually live inside. And staying, it turned out, was the proof he'd been shouting for all along. He used to think love that didn't announce itself constantly wasn't really love at all. Now he understands. The loudest love he ever gave was also the shortest lived. And the quietest love he ever learned to give was the first one that lasted. He didn't stop being a man who feels deeply. He just stopped needing everyone to hear it to believe it was real. Somewhere, Elena is still painting, in a home filled with exactly the kind of quiet she always needed. Somewhere, Sophia has her slow mornings back, uninterrupted, exactly as she wanted them. And here, in this quieter life, he has finally learned what none of the noise could ever teach him. That love isn't proven by how loudly it arrives, but by how steadily it's willing to stay. If you've ever loved too loud, it doesn't mean your love wasn't real. It just means you haven't yet learned that the truest love is often the quietest one, and it's never too late to learn it.